Hey, welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Red Hoop Talk. I'm Roy, and my sister Shannon sitting here next to me. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing good, Roy. What's new?
What's new? TikTok.
TikTok. Oh no, here we go.
TikTok. I cannot wait to get on my native TikTok. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. If you're not TikToking, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
I like the big stoic Indian men who are there, and you hear that bippity boppity boo song that Zalakadoo, bippity boppity boo, and then bam, and they're like in full powwow regalia, and there's disco lights going on, and it.
Where's your bag of flaming hot Cheetos? You got a bag of flaming hot Cheetos? You ain't Indian unless you got some Cheetos. Where's your flaming hot?
There were no Cheetos there, just large native men in their regalia.
Yeah,
So what are you seeing on TikTok?
oh, just fun. Just lots of fun. There's I follow so many of them now of all of the native TikTokers. It's like as soon as you start following a few of them and adding them on. Well, let's not get into that. Let's go ahead and start the show. And,
Okay.
and first of all, let's let's do our thing and recognize and thank the first people of the lands that we stand upon in here in Southern California. That's going to be the Luiseños and the Tongva people. And Shannon, where are you?
And out here in Maryland in the DC area, we're acknowledging the Piscataway nations and bands who are still here.
Right on. And all of you out there, please take a moment to recognize the peoples on whose land you stand and give them some thanks and put some up for them. All right.
All right.
So we lost our guest.
Yeah.
She was in the green room and then like she disappeared.
I'm texting her and seeing if she's okay.
I'm still like just I can't tell you how much fun I'm having on native TikTok. It's like it's the most awesome thing out there ever because it's like hanging back home or hanging in the res. It's just you get to see some funny stuff. I'm telling you, these people are just putting some funny stuff up there. It's a lot of fun. So if you're not on TikTok yet and you're out there watching us, get on the TikTok and get on the native TikTok and look and it's all kinds of ages and all different tribes, and everybody's out there, and there's city Indians and there's res Indians, and there's all kinds of different people from Canada, from South America, you name it. Everybody's on there, and it's just, man, they're just having a bunch of fun. It's really, really cool. Yeah. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I was on there and, just searching Native American generally and seeing what I was finding. And I actually found some folks who were actually amateur archaeologists, and they were digging, and they had found this, it was just like a really well intact, huge, like arrowhead type thing. But they're like, oh, this is gonna, I'll be able to sell this and make some money. And, so I'm wondering what else we can find on there that maybe,
well, you could comment
and
you could send them a comment too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You could send them a comment, and
I actually reported them because they could be breaking federal or state land law. So I did report them.
I see a lot of that. There's like a whole group of people that are finding arrowheads, and they're who knows what sites they might be digging into, right?
Yeah.
So,
you just don't
but maybe just sending them a message and letting them know, hey, what you're doing. Maybe what you're doing is okay where you're finding things, but you should leave them where they lay and let the professionals or let the tribes in that area know about that area, and maybe they can protect it,
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we're waiting for your auntie Pura Fé too. We're having some technical difficulties, but she'll be on. Don't worry. There's a couple of things going on this week, Roy. I don't know if you want to talk about.
Let me say hi to the chat room real quick. Okay. First of all, Victoria and Sandra in Colorado, hello. You guys are always been in chat room from day one. Who else do we have in there? We have Chad Johnson in there, Halito from Texas. Yes, Chad Johnson also has been in there like from day one. Let's see, Native by Crisis. Hey, how Auntie Pura Fé is hopefully back on her way in. She was with us just a minute ago. She snuck in on me earlier. I was in here doing some work, and all of a sudden she popped in, and I was like, scared the heck out of me. But I was like, hey, good thing I wasn't in my pajamas or my underwear or something sitting here. So she should be coming back. So we're hoping she's having some technical difficulties. Also, we've got Curtis
Zuniga
in there from Delaware, Indian country in Oklahoma. Oh, he's a Delaware from Oklahoma. Hey, what's happening, cuz? Yeah, Cato from well, half the family's from Oklahoma. The other half is from Louisiana. Let's see. And then Lance. Lance is back. And
Yep.
Tell them a spooky story. Oh, a spooky story.
Well, that's probably because our new. What does everyone think about our new backdrop?
Yeah, this is just a little test backdrop. We're going to be changing it here and there, back and forth, and doing some things. You know what? I'm so excited because she got back in.
Yes, she's here.
We're not dead in the water. So
yeah, you won't have me singing.
Thank you, chat room, for supporting us. And remember, everybody, like, comment, subscribe to us so that we can get the YouTube algorithms going and make the show more popular and get it out to more people in Indian country, and maybe even some of the TikTokers will start to watch us, because they're the TikTokers are taking over. They're taking over. The Indians are taking over TikTok, Shannon. They are
doing a damn good job, man. Even old ladies are on TikTok.
Oh yeah. And they're doing like TikTok. They do these they have about, I don't know, maybe 10 songs that all the kids dance to and stuff. My daughter does they do the little dances that they do and stuff. And it's always these very, very beautiful young ladies that do these dances and things. But there's now they're using the music, and there's an Inuit lady. She's 80 years old with her coats on and everything out in the snow doing the dances. It is freaking cool, beautiful. Man. It's cool. So, hey, we got JD Royballs in here. I've seen JD before. Welcome back, JD. So anyway, what's going on, Shannon? What's happening out there?
Well, something actually really good. I was talking to Suzanne Schoen Harjo, who's Muskogee Creek, and I don't know if you know her, but she's always been one of my idols. I remember reading about her back when I was going to school, and Spider Woman Theater, and her work on mascots and repatriation issues and American Indian religious freedom. I was having a discussion with her, and she was telling me stories, because of all the pulling down statues and Confederate statues and other statues that are going on right now. And she was telling me about the Roosevelt statue that's in front of the, I think, National Museum of Natural History in New York City. So there's Roosevelt. He's up on a horse, and below him is an Indian, and on the other side is a black man. So, basically he's the white patriarch with the two enslaved peoples next to him. And people, I think, for several decades have been defacing that, have been throwing red paint, have been making it known that type of depiction right in front of the Museum of Natural History in New York City is not appropriate and should be removed. So the director, I think it was the director of the museum, we did some reporting about it on our social media, and then I hear yesterday or today the museum is actually going to remove the statue.
Hey, good.
Decision to do that, and so there was an article about that today that I was reading about. I don't know if any of you on our chat room heard about that. Maybe you, Curtis. But if anyone has any news about it they want to share, please feel free to write a little comment, and we'll share it with everybody.
Or chat room, if you have any other questions, anything you guys want to ask, anything that there's a subject out there you want to talk about, maybe something we can research, please feel free, stick it in there, and and stir our brains up a little bit. Mine needs a little more stirring than most, but yeah, just get something going in there, and we'll speak to it. So appreciate you guys. Well, you know what, Shannon, I this week I saw all of this outrage. I watched some of the statues come down, and some of the real bad ones, man. It was really nice to see how happy all the people were, and there wasn't a lot of opposition, to some of them. Then there were others where they had groups of people that were, and these are big monuments. Some of them are really, really big, like tower over the whole city, and they're like on a platform, and then there's like a 20-foot bronze statue on top of a obelisk that's like 40 feet high itself. I was like, man, some of these things, and they were pulling them down. And the ones I did see some of the outrage, and I seen some of the news interviews, some of these white guys that were like real Southern sympathizer, wanted the statues to stay. That was part of their history. And I heard some like more how do you say it, they were a little more rational about their opinion about why it shouldn't come down.
Right.
But what it is that now they see and are feeling what we as Native people have felt all this time, that they've destroyed all the things that we've had, all the things that we've had them build on top of and destroy, like what they did to Mount Rushmore, the Pasapas, and what they, all the things that now how does it feel that the shoe is on the other foot, and it's not the same, of course, because these are monuments of hate and destruction. And I saw one, they interviewed this black man that lived in that town where I was telling you that big obelisk was,
Right.
and they were interviewing him, and he said, I've lived under the shadow of that thing my whole life, and knowing what it was, and being a black man, and feeling just feeling smaller than what the power that's around here that supports that. He goes, I've lived under the shadow of that my whole life, and I've always felt awful when I've seen that thing. And it's hard to imagine someone having to see something like that all the time, and living underneath it. And then I look at Native people, like in Rushmore, look at all those faces looking down at them after they've been defaced. I mean, gosh, those mountains were so beautiful. If you can pull up a picture of Rushmore before they did that,
Right.
of the grandpas.
Didn't you have it? You had a picture of that.
Yeah.
So
You can just Google it right there and pull it up.
Okay. What's his name is going to be there on July 4th weekend shooting off fireworks.
Who's that?
That Trump, that Trump guy.
That thing.
Yeah.
That thing.
What
a mess.
Looking for a picture. I'm looking for a picture.
What a mess. Because I mean, look at those mountains, and that's holy land right there. I mean, all land here is holy to us. All is sacred. It's sacred land, and the destruction that they caused by doing that.
Right.
And now they're making another one. And I know that there's mixed feelings. Some people, like the fact that they're making the Crazy Horse monument, and some people don't. I'm of the opinion to leave well enough alone and leave what's left alone.
Right.
But
I'm trying to bring. I'm trying to bring up that picture of the before picture. I don't know why I'm pulling up Wikipedia. I'm not able to get. I don't know if anyone can see this very well, but it's.
Yeah. Well, if you look closer, if you get a closer shot of those hills, gosh, they look like a bunch of old grandfather.
Well, that's exactly what this Wikipedia page is talking about, the 6 grandfathers.
Yeah. Yeah. And their faces, you can just see their faces on the mountain before they blew them off, and what a travesty. But, right. So now the shoe's on the other foot, and It's time for them to feel the pain. It's time for them to feel it. Totally different circumstance, though. Those are sacred hills, and those monuments aren't. I guess they're sacred as far as the brass and the rock that's made out of them, but the effigies that they represent, can go to hell, right?
Yeah. So what's happened to our auntie again? Did we lose her again?
She popped in and then fell back off.
All right.
So as soon as she comes on, we're gonna bring her up.
We're gonna bring her up right when she gets on. So, I noticed that Sandra said she'd really like to talk about treaties and why treaties aren't enforced, why they're not complied with. How do we get compliance with treaties? And what is that? Here's an example of the violations I'm talking about. We have treaty laws where that Mount Rushmore is. They're trespassing, and we must have an equivalent to eminent domain. How can we assert our law? And these are really complex issues of the doctrine of discovery and the founding of the United States and colonialism, which there's a old doctrine called the doctrine of discovery that basically says that if you're Christian, you can go and claim in indigenous people's lands, and that's exactly what happened in the U.S. It was done through treaties because there was a clear understanding that Indian nations were conceding land, were giving land in exchange for other things. And so these treaties acted like contracts. Unfortunately, what happened, depending on who was overseeing, who was the president, who was in Congress at any time, those treaties and people's interest in protecting Indian lands changed. It was like some kind of schizophrenic government action. You never knew if the administration was going to protect tribal rights in those treaties or if it was going to find ways to not.
Well, they wanted to keep their options open at all times.
Right. And so that's what we're in today. We have currently an administration that is not interested in protecting any kind of tribal rights. And there's our sovereign federal, how do I say this? I was talking to one of my old professors, and he was mentioning how we are pseudo-sovereign. We're not really fully sovereign nations, that we have vestiges of our sovereignty, but still maintain certain types of our inherent sovereignty, like being able to say who our citizens are, declare who our citizens are, and protect our health, safety, and security. And then other vestiges of our sovereignty may be limited or restricted because of colonization. So, tribes pass their own laws to help protect their jurisdiction and their sovereignty. But we're always in fights with states and the federal government to make sure there's not further impositions on it. It's a really complex issues. And there's been a lot of court cases looking to enforce those treaty rights. And sometimes we've been successful at protecting those treaty rights. Like you look at the fishing cases in the Northwest, we were able to use those treaty rights to protect the right to fish in usual and accustomed places. And then there's all these water rights cases that are happening where tribes in Arizona, for example, are getting to protect their water rights because they had the right first. And in the West, you get water rights if you were there first, and tribes were there first, so they have first claim on them, so to speak. So they're really complex issues, and it's hard to just say, this is why, because it really depends. Was that really interesting, or was that boring as hell, Roy?
No.
Yeah, what are you laughing at?
I just liked my answer. I'm laughing at myself, I guess. What about TikTok? Let's go back to TikTok.
No. I've got, so let me bring on, let's see, there's a, I wanted to, oh yeah, let me share this article with you guys. It's more depressing shit. So if you're ready for some more depressing shit, well, this may have a little bit of positive touch to it. So here we go. The Penn Museum must end abuse of the Morton collection. So let me tell you who Samuel George Morton was. Samuel George Morton was this anthropologist, archaeologist-like guy who basically measured the cavity of the skull, and basically surmised that, you know, the bigger brain, the bigger cavity that skull had, the smarter you were. And so it was his goal to study brown and black people's skulls to determine whether they were intelligent or not. And so this was a science that was done in the 1800s and even in the 1900s. And his scientific work, and he did this with Native Americans, and, as well as Black people. And this collection is in the Penn Museum. If Curtis is on our chat, he may know a little bit about it. Let me see if I can scroll down to this. He's called the founding father of race science. This is a really good article. So if you're interested in learning about this collection, you should read this article. It says, who makes up this collection? I say who, because it shouldn't be forgotten that these crania are human beings. Many were brutally exploited by colonialism when they were alive, and now they rest in a predominantly white institution. A person's right to decide where they rest after death is not only a fundamental human right, but it is our agency. Really great article, and it touches on issues of repatriation and NAGPRA, as well as Black Lives Matter, Indigenous Lives Matter issues. And hey, if y'all have any connections with the University of Pennsylvania, give them a little poke on this. It's not okay for them to maintain these collections. And the article talks about how some of these skulls are labeled stupid, idiot. I mean, it's actually still there for people to look at and see, because supposedly there were, smaller skull sizes that were related to intelligence, which of course all of that science has just been proven wrong.
Yeah, I wear a size 7 3/4.
Yeah, I don't know about your brain, Roy.
I got a big old head. Ain't nobody accused me of being smart.
Hey, you know what I can do is I could bring up some music by Pura Fé.
Let me bring something else up here.
Okay.
So Diane Stephenson in the chat room says, we love Pura Fé. She's been very influential in revitalizing traditional culture in the Southeast. Textiles, music, dance, language, ceremonies. Pura Fé has been an ember to keep the fire blazing. Oh, I'm not gonna wait, because right after I read that, she popped in. So
okay, so
without any more waste of time, ladies and gentlemen, Pura Fé. Hey, how are you?
Okay. Just having a hard time this time. Oh my gosh. Hold on. One last thing I need to do. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Hey, and if anyone has Wi-Fi or whatever going, tell them to turn it off.
And then I'm safe.
Huh.
Yeah, we do audio and video checks always before our show, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
So
much better.
Can you hear us, Pura Fé? Uh-oh. Can you hear us?
hold on a second. I'm going to try and fix this technically for a second here.
Oh,
Pure
yeah, I
Fé.
can hear you.
Pure Fé.
Great, I've got a speaker on.
Okay, below you on the bottom where it says,
Oh, yeah.
you see where it says stop cam?
It says cam mic, share screen.
Yes.
Hit the stop cam for a minute and see if we can get your you might be having some bandwidth issues. Go ahead and talk to us now.
Yes.
Okay, we got you now. Unfortunately, we're going to lose some video for a moment, but at least we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
She's back.
Can you talk a little bit for us, Pura Fé?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay.
Yeah, there's a little delay. So if anyone else
Sure. How is everybody? I'm so sorry this is happening. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
So how are you?
Yeah, that's why I like using my phone.
Why don't you go ahead and hit that
This
stop
has
camera?
never happened to me before. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Turn the camera off. That way we can.
Okay, you can hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you good now.
I'm doing okay. A little frustrated, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so just let everyone know in your house if anyone else is on Wi-Fi, tell them to turn off their Wi-Fi so that you can have all the Wi-Fi. And that may help.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Well, we can hear you. Your voice sounds beautiful.
I don't know what to say now. That was such a strange thing to happen.
Hey, that's okay. We'll just like Taylor Swift it, right? I'm sorry, I even brought that up. Sorry.
Okay.
But Pura,
I don't think anyone is on it. Yeah.
Everything looks okay. So I first met you.
Okay.
I guess I never met you. Can you hear us okay, Pura?
Thank you.
So everything was fine earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
I wonder if I'm not sure what else to do, Roy.
Yeah, I hear you great.
Okay, good.
I know.
Hey, start telling us a story, Pura Fé.
Tell you. We were talking yesterday a little bit.
Yeah.
And we talked really wonderful. Like we were really covering lots of information. And we really did go into the whole, there was a post that someone put up about Indian slavery, and they were basically targeting the 5 civilized tribes, or the Cherokee. They were really targeting Cherokee. And I thought, well, that is a good topic, because people don't really know the whole shebang. And there is a book out that was written by a man named Traveler Bird, and I guess he and a bunch of others, 17 of them, are the heirs of Sagwili, who was one of the original people that were the keeper of the original syllabary, not the one that was put in place, according to the stories here. So it's 17 heirs, 17 logbooks that were written and kept during the time of when they were really being taken over by a whole new way of governing. And So I just wish people would change the narrative and really look at what really happened throughout all of Indian country and really pretty much throughout the world. And you just have like this patriarchy system that just, it's almost like a virus itself, just comes and spreads and just colonizes. And so, yeah, my whole point was when I saw that post, I just lost my mind and started banging away at the keys. I'm like, okay, look, you know, it's like this, you know, it's like pretty much, you know, I'm pretty sure the Cherokee were just as matriarchal as any other nation in the East. Mm-hmm. And which meant, you know, everything was governed basically by your family and your mom, the lineal line. And, you know, she's the mother of all of us, the governing system, the food system, the whole 9 yards. Even decisions for war had to go through her, and clan mothers and so forth. Mm-hmm. So I think when these Europeans got here, you know, and they saw this, I think first thing they realized the best, the quickest way to get that land and start mining people is to marry up these women and have children. Kaboom. There you have it. You know, you're in, and you start spreading your system in their patriarchal way. And they had these kids, and they are a part of that mindset. So those that were slaveholders and those that were replacing a traditional government were these people. And so I just wish that, you know, the written law books really talk about how they went through such horrible times, torture and being killed and maimed as an example, so that people would have to follow. And you know, and they called the new government, they were calling these people friendlies, the friendlies, and versus the traditional government. So I think that's a really important story, because it was everywhere, pretty much. A little different, but in some places, but it really changes things. And it was the majority of the people were not following this until they had to. They had no choice but to change and switch what was, you know, taking over everything, everywhere. So that's all. That's my 2 cents there, you know, which has also changed the whole mindset even today. You know, it's just like missionaries and residential schools, and I mean, just everything, all our traditional values of just being a part of and related to the earth. And all of that just went out the window.
Yeah.
And connected to each other.
And we still carry that today. And sometimes we don't even realize we're carrying it. Some of our tribal leaders and some of the racism within our own communities, you know, we sometimes forget.
Yeah.
I like how you said it was a virus. That makes a lot of sense. You know, it was, because it's like a virus,
the true virus.
Yeah. And but I'm seeing some good things. Like, you know, I made jokes about TikTok earlier, and how fun it is, and how the Indians are taking it over right now. And I mean, really, they're just, it's amazing. But it's like viral. It's viral. They're actually kind of like moving in on their territory now. And it's really cool to see. That's what got me excited, was to actually see Indians doing that somewhere, you know. And it's not like just one little group. It's all different tribes, different people from all around, you know, from Canada, from North America, South America, all coming together on this this digital platform, and they're all sharing their stories and their dances and their traditional ways. Everything from their hunting and the way they're preparing their foods to jokes and just fun. And I mean, it's really neat to see. Because I've traveled, all over Canada, all over the United States, and been in it with Indian people on reservations and just in their towns, and you literally have to go to these places to even experience any of that usually. But just by this little app, is like all of these different cultures are sharing with each other now. It's really, really cool to see. And then all the jokes, like the Flamin' Hot Cheetos thing, is like, it's funny. It's like, because that's like pan Indian now. Like everybody's like, if you ain't got Flamin' Hot Cheetos, you ain't Indian. So it's really neat to see.
But who does Taki Fuegos? Like, does anyone eat Taki Fuegos? Like, who's native, or is that more
Janet?
What?
Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Flamin' Hot Cheetos. It's not Takis. It's Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Okay. So are you coming? You're in Saskatchewan, way up there, right? Sasquatch.
Yeah, I'm the northern part of Saskatchewan.
She's, like we said yesterday, she's in the north of the middle of damn nowhere.
Well, and clearly, her internet ain't behaving either.
Yeah, it sounds good though. We could hear you real good.
Well,
yeah.
Well, we can always try it again. You can always, shoot back your face every once in a while, see if it's working. Feel free to do that. I hate to do this. We're gonna have to bring you back to get the full Pura Fé experience. We see you, but it's just a little delayed.
Yeah. I'm going to turn it off then. But
yeah, especially
as long as you can hear it.
If we're going to hear some music, especially if we're going to hear some music, we're going to hear some music.
You have to turn it off. I did send you back those photos.
Oh, did you send them to me again?
Yeah, maybe
on your phone.
Maybe she could sing a song and we can put her photos up.
Yeah, that's going to take me.
That's what I was thinking.
But so all right. So I first met you in person. Actually, it was in Washington D.C. and I got to spend time with you in North Carolina, and it was so wonderful to actually get to meet you and be in your presence, because I'd only met you through my ears. Because I'd go to law school and I'd play ukulele and I'd run. And that was my outlet, putting up with these people all day and in school and the university, and then to hear you and in my ears, you have saved my life so many times. So to meet you in person was just such an honor, and we're so happy to have you. And I listen to your music constantly. My 13-year-old son, it'll grow on him. It's going to grow on him.
Yeah, she was really excited to get you on the show. She was really excited.
Thank you.
All right, I've got
we both were, but she was like
a
schoolgirl. So do you want to try see if we could get a song going here?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to.
Sure.
Let's turn off your camera again. That way we get the sound was good. It's still a little laggy.
Okay.
I hate not to see you.
All right.
I know.
I hate not to see you.
I'm gonna mute my mic.
Okay, yeah, I'll mute mine too.
Sometimes these things happen and I don't understand why. But I'm going to tell you, I have what they call nodules on my throat. And it's really stopped me from being able to sing the way I normally would. But I keep on going. And I'm going to sing I love these songs, pigeon dance songs. And originally they were Tulo people from the Carolinas and Virginia, the border there. And they're Sioux-speaking people. And that language left, but it's coming back like a lot of things are. And anyway, when they left, a lot of them left. Some stayed, some went up north, and they brought a lot of their music, their repertoire, and their rituals or rites, and it became a part of the whole Iroquois Confederacy, social dance and more. So this is pigeon dance. Not to sound like I sound like some ethnomusicologist. Here we go. I mixed this one with the song Blackbird. I've always liked these two together. One day it just hit me in the head. I heard it coming right through it. So here it is. Young Virginia. Okay, I'm going to use my Take these broken wings and singers in the dead. Take these broken wings and singers in the dead. Take these broken wings singers in the dead. Take these broken wings Yeah, that was a little strange, eh?
Woo!
If I don't get the timing right, it doesn't lock. But anyway, that was a try.
That was beautiful. Roy, you got your mute on. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that was beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And it's tough with the lag to make it right.
I was trying to pull up the pictures that you sent me and from text and email, and they're just not coming through. So I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
The chat room is.
I shouldn't have.
The chat room. Go ahead.
No, nothing. I don't have anything good to say at this moment. Go ahead. The chat room is what?
No, Diane Stephenson is in there and said, I sure do miss Pura Fé bringing her warmth, spark, and light to us here on the East Coast. So you're missed out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When are you coming back down this way?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. We were kind of trapped here for a little bit. We weren't even allowed to leave our our villages to go shopping. Yeah, so it's like I began to plant food. So I don't know when I'll get down. I hope soon. I miss my family. I miss everybody. Yeah. It'd be nice to travel again and make music with people. There's so many things I wanted to do and start. I wanted to start recording. It's been so long since I've put anything out, and I've got a whole repertoire of canoe songs, and I really wanted to record them with the Kohari community in Sampson County, which is where my mom's family's from, in Sampson County, and there's a beautiful community there, and they sing so well. I've been teaching these canoe songs for a long time and singing them, but when they sang them, it was like they knew them. So gene pool, it's like same gene pool. So it makes sense to me. So yeah.
So let's get a little history about you. Where exactly were you from? Where did you grow up, and how did you get influenced musically? How did that hit you?
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in New York City. My grandparents on my mom's side are from North Carolina. And both of them are Tuscarora and Black and Scottish, or Scot-Irish, whatever. And so they moved north to New York City during the Depression. Both of them come from thick music, complete music. And like on my mom's side, grandma, there's like 8 generations of singers that we can count of. Anyway, we can't count back farther than that, but we can go 8 generations. And the last, I guess, 4 generations count 7 sisters in a row through the maternal line, and they all sang. So I grew up around that. I grew up around singers, my mom and her sisters in New York. And on my grandfather, my mother's father, so his story also, like his grandfather and grandmother, or great-grandfather and great-grandmother, come from 4 sisters and 4 brothers that married each other. And these were the Coles sisters, who were Tuscarora, and they married African men from the monk plantation. And out of that, one of those unions is Thelonious Monk. So there's lots of, all this music came out of my families, and my grandma's grandmother and her sisters sang together. They were the Blackwell sisters. After that, my grandmother was the Sanders sisters. So that's basically where my music comes from, my family. There's even banjos and all kinds of stuff before. And so in New York, growing up, my mother, who sang opera, and her sisters too, but my mother ended up singing for the Duke Ellington Orchestra.
Wow.
And she sang for his Sacred Concert Series. So I traveled with her a bit as a little kid, and Mom became very close friends with Duke's sister, and even she got me work when I grew older and passed, and she got me some work, and then I ended up singing also for the Duke Ellington Orchestra under his son Mercer Ellington, who played with him. When I was a kid, I remember him and Cootie Williams and Johnny Hodges. I remember the original band members as a child, and going on the road and just listening to all that music and sitting at rehearsals at the New Yorker Theater in Manhattan. And anyway, my mom put me in show business at a young age, and I ended up, there's Charlie, and I ended up, I lost my mind just now, my train of thought. I saw Charlie's picture and I just stopped. So, blah, blah. I don't know where I was. I was somewhere in music. So anyway, I ended up singing with the Mercer Ellington band, and I met James McBride, and I met through George Caldwell, an amazing piano player. And I met all these musicians. And even when I was younger, though, in my teens, I would play in bands, in punk bands and rock bands and every kind of band you can imagine. And I was a waitress at the Max's Kansas City, and I was underage, but they didn't know. And and I've just met lots of, New York people and other young people that were had jazz parents, like Lonnie Hillier, just old friends that we hung out on the street, and like Jesus Perez, and just all these young people. And there was Zach Alford, who became a great drummer. There's so many that, anyway, so the streets of New York and music kind of melded together, and then also the whole native urban scene, American Indian Community House, which I think I really started going to all their functions starting at the age of 15. And eventually I met Sonny, and we became very good friends. And I asked her to sing backup for me in my jazz band. And then they asked up for Joy Harjo in the American Indian Dance Theater.
Mm-hmm.
And the theater was brand new. And so were we. And we went and opened for them. And after that, things just shifted, and I just no longer sang with the jazz band. I said, Sonny, why don't we just take these songs and put them down to a drum? And so we got guys to come and drum. And then eventually we just said, you know what, let's just, you and me, let's just tell your husband to go and crack this drum open and make two hand drums. I know it's sacrilege, but we did it anyway. And we we ended up with these 2 hand drums, and we started singing like that. And we got a lot of flack in some places. In other places, we were like, just keep doing what you're doing and don't listen to anybody. And then my cousin Jennifer came. And well, first we had a group with Matoka Little Eagle and Frank Menuson and Andy Wounded Knee, Cochise Anderson, and Kenneth Little Hawk. And that was the band. We were together, did the whole a cappella thing, sort of 49er type thing. And then it just, and that's it. Let me shut up. Going on.
So whatever happened to the American Indian Dance Theater? What happened to that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
We went on tour years ago with John Trudell and Buffy Sainte-Marie and Walela came, and I mean, all of us were all on the road together in Italy and France and blah blah blah. But that's the last time I actually saw them, and that's a long time ago.
Yeah. What was it like in Europe with the music and the American Indian Dance Theater? The times you've went there on your own tours, how did the audience there treat you any differently or feel different?
Oh yeah, totally. Well, I mean, aside from the cultural, well, I mean, there's just a huge difference. Like for Europe or pretty much anywhere else in the world, music is regarded as like sacred. It's like it's a necessity, and over here in the States, it's like a luxury. Wow. So you get treated very differently in just that alone. And like, your guitar breaks and all of a sudden you've got 5 guys up on the stage trying to fix your guitar. It's in the States, you get a sound check and they walk away. So it's a very different experience. And they feed everyone together, like the techie guys and the musicians and everybody, and they all just sit together and they eat. And actually had a really good time like that sometimes. There were some very fun conversations.
That's cool.
Yeah, they love the music. Yeah, it is cool. Yeah.
I like those backstories.
So do you have any good juicy stories about anyone famous?
Oh, come on.
I don't know who you want to know about that I know. But,
well, what was it like? I know you've been on some soundtracks and some things like that. So when you started, I don't know, did you ever have like, what was it like? I guess did you try to break into kind of like more mainstream music or any of that, or have you always just kind of stayed with a more native audience and those who were willing to meet you there?
Well, I mean, I grew up in the mainstream with the whole show business thing. And when I was about 20, I was brought to meet Tommy Mottola, who, was Mariah Carey's husband. And I knew Mariah. We did backup vocals together years ago.
Wow.
But I did all that kind of studio work for people and different musicians that wrote stuff. So I did all of that kind of that whole mainstream thing, and I didn't like it. And in fact, they were asking me to sing a song. They wanted me to record this song, and Tommy Mottola wanted to sign me. He goes, "We just sat here. We'll go in the studio tomorrow." It's like he's the one that had Hall & Oates, and Tommy Mottola lives on the road, Savannah Banna, and all that. So I was tempted, but I didn't want to. And they wanted me to sing a song like "I'm from the Res" and "Look at me in the big time now." And I'm like, no, I can't do that. So that was the end of that for me.
Wow.
And when I met Sonny, it was like our chance to do something that was our own, and we stuck to it. And a lot of people laughed at us too. So it's been like that since then. But when I went to Europe on my own and I started working solo, it broke into the mainstream there. I mean, I was doing very well there. I won one of their Grammys, and and that's like I said before. It's a different experience over there. They like real music.
Yeah.
They like
And
what's behind the board.
And then you do so much. I mean, you're taking care of your little nieces. You're doing all this wonderful seamstress and jewelry work and artwork. You're just a woman of many talents. How did you? Have you always done those things as well? Have you always been a caretaker and a creator?
Well, I don't think I took care of my own kids as good as I could have, but I certainly, when I moved here, it was like, I don't want to be telling too much personal stuff, but
sorry. Yeah, you don't have to talk about personal stuff here.
Like someone can't relate to it out there, but it looked at this point, it was like those girls would have been put in foster home, and they're just, just about as cute as they get, and and they wake you up every morning, and then so we took them on, and then so it's been 5 years, and they're growing. And I haven't really had the time to make the things that I made. A lot of the pictures that you see of stuff is all when I was in the Carolinas. I really, really sat and made stuff. And I worked with over at the Keever's Longhouse, and worked with youth there in the North Carolina Indian Cultural Center in the 7th Generation Youth Group. We made regalia, we learned songs, we became dance troupe. They even came and opened for Eulaline. We would travel to New Orleans Jazz Fest and do stuff. And so, I've always been busy and just creating. And, when you come from the city, you starve to be a part of your culture. You starve to be a part of your people. And even though we had the American Indian Community House, and they had totally different strengths there, like where like the indigenous permanent forms busted out of them. And there's so many in the theaters, and there's great stuff like that. But me, I wanted to be in the bush. I love the bush, and I love canoes and being in the water. So I married, a bushman, and I kept doing that too. My mom says, "Get this, my daughter married Crocodile Dundee." But anyway, not talking about this one. But anyway, yeah. Before I go off any further.
Curtis, one of our folks on chat here, is asking whether you'll talk about your musical instrument collection and whether you have anything that you consider exotic.
Yeah, probably the most exotic one I have is my I only play on my lap. So I have these different lap steel guitars. They're all in storage now. My cousin, when he left North Carolina, he took my instruments with him. So I don't have my collection anymore. I just have like a couple of lap steel guitars. One electric one I got in Paris, and was beautiful. Yeah, so they're all hollow neck, which is a slide guitar where the strings are raised, and that style of guitar starts off in Hawaii, and I think slide guitar pretty much started off in Hawaii, and so a man named Herman Weisenborn copied and made his own slide lap steel. It's like a hollow neck, has a very throaty sound. It's a beautiful sound, and some people make them out of koa wood. And but mine's not made by Herman. None of mine are. And the one I use the most is made by a guy named Steve Wisniewski out of North Carolina. But I call these guitars a Hawaiian born because they were born from Hawaiian musicians. And so those are my exotic ones. I have one that's a double neck that was made by a man named Rory Defoe out of Vancouver. And it's a very beautiful guitar. And but the one that works for me the most is made out of plywood from dumpsters.
Oh, wow.
And Steve Wisniewski, it just resonates like nothing. It's such a beautiful instrument. And yeah, I'm not the best player. I just picked it up and just started to play. And there's one of our chiefs plays a dobro on his lap. And he passed away maybe about a year ago now. But I used to listen to him, and I listened to Kelly Joe Phelps, who is quite a master. And Ali ended up on the stage with him at the Winnipeg Folk Festival for the first time, and he sat next to me, and he just picked that thing, and I swear to God, I've played that before. And so that's when I picked it up and just started just learning my own songs by ear on that instrument. So that must have been Curtis Zuniga.
Yes.
Who asked that question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys know each other?
Years ago, yes. Yeah. Good Facebook friend. Good friend. I'd say that.
Good. Yeah, he's in the chat room watching.
Yeah, Curtis, he's also a friend of the association. We're happy to be associated with him as well. And he does a lot of work for the Lenape Center.
Yeah, it's a small world, Indian country.
Yeah, it is.
In fact, you said you knew my cousin, Michael Edmonds.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't tell us a story though. We stopped at that.
She didn't. Yeah, she didn't say. She just said, "Yeah, I know."
You said, "Yeah, I know." That was it. You came on the show, so.
So
yeah.
show us your face one more time, Pura. Let's see if anything's working.
Oh, you want to see my face?
Yeah, let's see. Even if it's a little delayed, if we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, because at least we can see you smile.
Yeah.
So what's the story with Cousin Mike?
I don't remember. I met him at I can't remember which festival it was. Must have been in California, maybe.
Yeah.
And he didn't have he was doing an exhibition, and he didn't have anyone to help him, like a female to shake shells. So that's how I met him. And and I guess we did a few shows together. I never really got to know him well. He was very kind to me. And then I met his cousin, yeah, at a powwow in California, in Orange County. He was an amazing painter. and I can't remember his name, Davidson, and he did a portrait of me, which was amazing. So, but that's all I know of my father. We all did go to some amusement park and went on some rides. That was about it.
Probably the not
I'm
very
wasting
fun.
time here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not
I'm not
very
telling you
fun.
anything. That's
So, so what is it? Do you have like a favorite song of all times, or a favorite song of yours?
oh my gosh. Well, that's a huge, vast ocean of music.
I'm not being a very good interviewer.
I know, that's fine. You're being fine. I don't have a favorite song. I mean, they come and go, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Favorite song.
Depending on how you
Like one
feel.
of my first favorite songs as a kid was Classical Gas. I fell in love with guitars from a very early age. Do you know Classical Gas?
No.
You know it. It's beautiful. It's a da da dum dum da da dum da da dum da da dum 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 da da dum 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 da da dum 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 dum. You don't remember the song. Anyway, you have to listen to it. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think even Jose Feliciano version. Everybody has. Glenn Campbell did the version.
Oh well, hell, I
Everybody did a version.
that one.
Such a beautiful piece of music. Yeah, I can't really think of. I mean, I love music from all over the place. I love traditional music from all over the world. I love harmony. Harmony probably really does it for me from anywhere. You know, when I was really little, Mom took me to one of her rehearsals when she was singing with Duke Ellington, and there was a little old man named Tom Whaley who would rehearse the singers, and he played the piano and he would run them through the songs. This was separate from the orchestra, and so Tom Whaley worked at the Baptist Canaan Church in Harlem on 125th Street. And it was during the summer, extremely hot, and we had to go through the basement to get to his little room and his grand piano. And when we went down in the basement, it was huge, and there must have been like 5 huge black choirs singing together. It was a homecoming for them at that church, and my mom had to drag me through. She had me by the hand and she was just dragging me through, and I totally levitated, hearing all the voices and the harmony and the hand clapping and the whole. I was just like anyway. So ever since then, harmony. And my family sang in harmony. I sang in my whole family sings together that way, a cappella and harmony. And so that blows me away. One of my favorite songs is I found on Tribal Voices, I think it was called. My mom had it in her record collection. And it was a canoe song from the Northwest Coast. And it sounded like 100 people singing in harmony. And again, it did the same thing to me. So anyway, that's my favorite songs.
Got Lance is asking if you have any quarantine songs.
I missed it.
Oh, do you have
Lance is asking.
Do you have any quarantine?
I'm turning. Let me turn.
All right. Do you have any quarantine songs?
Do I have any quarantine
songs?
No. You mean like, did I write a song about being quarantined? No.
or anything you're listening to
it
while you're
probably would.
quarantined.
Yes. Lately, I've been listening to, there's a young guy named Jacob Collier. He's from England.
Mm-hmm.
He's partially Asian. He walked away with tons of Grammys, I realize, but I found him online somewhere. And I just heard this guy singing. I was just like, what in the world? I've never seen such complex genius. You have to pull him up and listen to him. Jacob Collier. And I do watch a lot of all those singers on.
Well, he looks like he's 12 years old or something.
Yeah, he's this little skinny genius child who had this wonderful mother who's a violinist. He calls her Mummy. This is my mummy. And he has this whole orchestrated piece, and she's playing a violin solo. His influences are Take Six, Bobby McFerrin, and Stevie Wonder. Those are people I listen to as well. So he has lots of harmony. Again, yeah.
So, and your music to me has always been so powerful because it's such strong advocacy, and it comes from that place. Oh, that hole that many of us has. It just seems to radiate from that some strong need or missing part of us. I may not explain that very well, but you really tell us a strong story of advocacy and connection in your music. And I mean, that's...
Yeah, what songs are you talking about? Thank you, by the way.
Well, so, the songs you've done with Eulalie, the songs on your last album that I have, the Pura Fé album.
Roots. Roots was...
Is it Roots?
Roots was a good... Well, that was off of something Freedom. Roots was the song, and then there was...
Cost of Freedom.
Yes.
Right.
And then there was My People, My Land.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was another one I liked.
Yeah.
Oh.
So when you're an activist also. So is your music your activism, or are there times in your life where you've actually stood on the line, or you've been involved other ways in as far as activism goes? How does that fit into your life?
Yeah, I've definitely been on front lines when I was much younger. And if we didn't have these little girls, we'd have been there the whole time at Standing Rock and wherever else. But we can't with these little girls. But yeah, my music for sure is my I guess activism.
Your outlet, your activism outlet.
Yeah.
My connection to the sanity, to spirit, to what's real.
So
I think that's the whole point of writing, right? Is to connect to what's real.
So what do you say? When was it that you kind of were involved in your first activism project or gathering? How long ago was that?
When before we became named Eulalie, and there was when our first concert was down in Toronto at the WOMAD Festival, and then Floyd Westerman had us come and perform in Arizona down in Tucson. And at that time, we did this concert, and this young guy was shot by a cop named Penner. And gosh, I can't remember the young guy's name all of a sudden. Anyway, so the family came to our concert. That was amazing those days, because what we were doing was never done before. So we would jam pack these houses, theaters with Indian people, and so everyone there basically was awesome. They were in that area, and so they came to us at the end of the show, and they told us that they were having a march on behalf of, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name all of a sudden. I was 26 years old, and Cece Goldwater, the granddaughter and her sister of Barry Goldwater,
Right.
they came and they hung out with us, and we told them that we were going to this march for Tyrone. Oh, I can't remember his name. Anyway, so we went, and they came with us then, and then there was a blockade, and we had to go to Pima County in Arizona, and there were all these state troopers and so forth. And before we got there, Cece didn't want to go, and the guys were feeling all sorry for her. I said, I'm so sorry, but we need to go. And she's our ticket. It's a terrible thing to say, but it's true. And so we got through because of her, and they got on their walkie-talkies and they summoned the people, like, who is in the van with us. And so we got there, and they had snipers on the roof all the way around at this plaza. And there was our friend on the podium talking to the people, and yeah, it was crazy. So that was my very first, I'd say. And yeah, and then many more. And then we did lots of benefits, and always trying to help raise money for all kinds of, everywhere, wherever we were going through Indian country very fast. And then we often paired up with John Trudell and Keith Secola and, and Floyd. And I mean, and Buffy, and there's so many groups that we all were together all the time doing stuff together. And it's like a family of musicians, and there's more. I just can't think of their names at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome, hearing those stories. Now, today we've got, a lot of youth out there starting to pick up the torch, like you said, a Standing Rock. And, from your observation, coming from where you've come from and having a musical background, what would you say to the young people out there today who are protesting, or maybe even young musicians today? What would you tell them? How would you tell them to move forward? What's your message to them?
Well, of course, and John always is ringing in my head. He always said the right things, but not to act out of anger, and to understand what has happened to us here has happened to everyone, everywhere in the world, and that what we are facing is we're at war with patriarchy, and that's the way I see it. And that no matter what is thrown at us, we need to always remember the truth and our original purpose and the reason why we're here. And those are the things that are important, and not to get too caught up in things that just don't matter.
Right.
That we have everything we need. We really do. There's so many things I could say, but right there, I think that's not to act out of hate or out of anger, but to really understand what the beast is, this entity that we've had to deal with for so long. And we are the truth.
Mm.
And we are the medicine. We are the spirit. We are connected to the beginning of time. We have it. It's right in our heart. It's right up here in our spirit eye. It's in our DNA, and so there's so many things that are thrown in front of us that are a lie. The lie. So those are my yeah. Anything that's going to take you down is a lie.
Oh, yeah.
So, do you have any young musicians that you're listening to that you see out there that are doing good stuff, that are impressing you, other than this other young gentleman that you were talking about? I'm telling, in the Indian community.
There's lots. I don't even. I really feel old now because I don't even know their names. I'm like that guy, that girl. But there's lots. There's so many amazing. As soon as I hear someone that just sings really well, I just start to bawl. I start crying. I can't name anyone now, but there's a lot of really great music coming out of Indian country. And there's some other girl groups and with hand drums, and there's so much. I can't. I'm so sorry. I just don't have the names.
Well, you're living up in Saskatchewan now, so that's you kind of just separated yourself from humanity, basically.
You're up there with the bears.
Yeah, you're up there with the bears, dancing with the bears.
Dances with bears. And it's not about money. I mean, I think they need to know that the whole, that's right there. If that was eliminated, imagine how every little thing would shift.
Yeah.
Money makes everything bad. Like it makes racism. It makes classism. It makes everything bad. It makes slavery. It makes a complete imbalance. So I think teaching youth is important. They need to know that they have to be part of the system or part of the becoming or the changing the value system in this world. That abundance, not profit. Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Pura Fé, I am so sorry that we've had these technical difficulties and it hasn't, we haven't really been able to see you and hear you like we were hoping to today. So I really hope that you'll come back and maybe we can work through some of the technical issues beforehand and make sure everything's all set up correctly.
Yeah, you could sneak back in my office again and anytime you want. And then next time we'll make sure we'll get this ironed out, and you might just have some background issue going on with your internet, and we can hunt that down and get rid of it, and because we had a really great connection last night, and actually today when you and I were talking earlier, it was your connection was fine. So we'll get that fixed and get you back on again.
Oh yeah, sure. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Yes.
All right, Shannon. Pura Fé, we're going to go ahead and let you go. And thank you again. And we'll definitely get you back in here. And just thank you so much.
Yeah, and don't leave. Yeah. Don't leave if you'll just hang out
for a brief. Hang out in the green room there for a brief moment.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Shannon.
Hey.
Oh, that was hard. That was so hard.
So
I
sorry,
wanted to.
everybody.
I know you were dying to have her on, and we had such a hard time with that tech. We'll get that ironed out though. I'll iron that out, and we'll shut everything off around her house and get her on and make sure that we got a good connection next time.
Yeah, I just really appreciate her time and energy and sticking with it. It's really hard to to do this when things are such a headache sometimes. So
Especially live.
Yeah, and live.
It's real internet, guys. Real internet.
It's reality. It's the real stuff, man. But thanks so much, Roy, and I'm grateful for your technical expertise and
really did a good job. Huh?
Guess. Next week is our 4th of July weekend special, which we don't know what the hell's going to happen. So
it's going to be an ending 4th of July.
Your guess is as good as mine. We're going to celebrate some independence on our show next week, and hope y'all will join us. I want you to remember that the Association on American Indian Affairs is graciously producing this wonderful show. And if you ever have any recommendations for guests you think we should have on the show, or an issue or topic that we could potentially bring in someone to talk about, please don't hesitate to let us know. We really appreciate our folks on the chat. Roy, do you want to?
Yep. Thank you, chat room. Thank you. And then everybody, hey, get on native TikTok. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And next week,
like, subscribe, and comment here. Then go to TikTok.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and then go. I'm gonna start us a TikTok. We're gonna have a.
I think we should.
It's gonna be
play our TikTok during this.
It's gonna be Red Hoop Talk.
Red Hoop TikTok. I like it.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Go eat all your flaming Cheetos you want, and we'll see you all next week on Red Hoop Talk. Bye-bye.
Yokoki.